Namaste dear students. Welcome to our YouTube channel Master Physics Academy. By learning physics here, you will definitely master physics. This is the last part of the video solution Comet K 2020 where I'm going to discuss question number 51 to question number 60 in a greater detail so that it is going to help you in the understanding of physics concepts and also it is going to help you in the upcoming exams. So let us begin with question number 51. The impedance offered by the series LCR circuit to the AC source shown in the diagram is. So here we have inductance 25.48 millihenry, capacitance 796 microfarad and resistance 3 ohm. Now let us calculate the angular frequency first, which is given by 2 pi f. So 2 into 3.14 into 50 is going to be the angular frequency. So 2 into 50 is 100, 100 times 3.14 is 314 radian per second. So this is going to be the angular frequency of the AC source. Now the inductive reactance is given by omega L. So it is going to be 314 into 25.48 millihenry. Milli stands for 10 power minus 3. So this is going to be said, in order to make it easy, I'll consider this as 310 into 25.5. So into 10 to the power minus 3 is there. So this can be written as 255 into 31 into 10 power minus 3. So let me calculate this. So it is going to be 552 15 16 7. So it is going to be 5 10 1. So it is nearer to 7905 into 10 power minus 3 is there. So that means it is very nearer to 8 ohm. I had used the calculator for the same. I got it 8 ohm. Okay, so but in the examination, if calculators are not allowed, so you can rough estimate this. Okay, so answer is nearer to 8 ohm. Let us do the calculation for capacitive reactance, which is going to be uh, 1 divided by omega c. So let me substitute that. So 1 divided by omega is 314 into a very weird number they have given, 796 it is. I'll consider that as 800. Okay. So into 10 power minus 6 is there. So that will be into 10 power minus 4. So taking that to the numerator, I will be getting 10,000. Hope you are getting it. So here 800 into 10 power minus 6 was there here. So I just simplified that. So we are getting like this. So what is 314 times 8? So 8 fours are 32, 8 ones are 8, 8 11, 1, 8 3 is 24, 25. Okay, so we are getting 2512. I'll consider that as 2500. Okay, so approximately. So that is going to be 10,000 divided by 2500. So this is going to be nearly equal to 4. Okay, nearly equal to 4. So right. So now so the impedance is given by this formula, root of r square plus xc minus xl whole square. Now substitute root of 3 square is 9 plus xc minus xl. Xc minus xl is 4 minus 8 or 8 minus 4, whatever way you can take, because square is there. So it is going to be 4. 4 squared is 16. So root of this, that is root of 25, is 5. So the correct answer is option 3 as mentioned in the key answer. Let us move on to next question, question number 52. A charged 30 microfarad capacitor is connected to a 27 millihenry inductor the angular frequency of free oscillations of the circuit is. So here the formula is omega equals, that is angular frequency is equal to 1 divided by root of LC. L is inductance, C is capacitance. Let me substitute this kind of question as arrived earlier. It has been discussed in question number 31. Only thing is the numbers have been changed here. This is a repeated question. Okay, so this is the second time they are repeating the same concept. Okay, so before it was question number 1 and question number 17. They have repeated. These questions are repeated. 1 and 17. They are one and the same. Here 31 and 52. They are repeated questions, but here numbers has been changed. Okay, so 1 divided by root of L. L is 27 millihenry, so that is 27 into 10 to the power minus 3, and 30 microfarad means 3 into 10 to the power minus 5 farad. So now 1 divided by 27 into 3 is 81, root of that will be equal to 9. 10 power minus 3, 10 power minus 5, that is 10 power minus 8. Root of that will be equal to 10 power minus 4. So it is equal to 10,000 divided by 9. Solving this, we will be getting 1.11. It is recurring. So in another words, it is going to be 1.11 into 10 to the power 3 radian per second, which is clearly given in option 3. Let us move on to the next question, that is question number 53. Which of the two lenses will be preferred to construct a telescope? This is a repeated concept, but question is entirely different. No problem. So telescope has objective and eyepiece. There are two lenses. One is called as objective, the other one is called as eyepiece. Objective should have larger aperture in order to gather more light from the distant object, and eyepiece on the contrary, it will be having lesser aperture compared to the objective. The focal length of objective is greater, and that of eyepiece is lesser. In other words, the power of objective will be lesser because power and focal length, they are inversely proportional to each other, and the power of eyepiece will be greater in magnitude. Now, why this has to be there? Because the magnification is defined as focal length of objective divided by focal length of eyepiece. If we have focal length of the objective greater than focal length of eyepiece, the magnification will be greater than 1. And also we can write another formula for magnification, that is PE divided by PO, where PE stands for power of eyepiece, PO stands for power of objective, since we know that focal length and powers are inversely proportional to each other. Now let us look at the pair of lenses given in each option. In the first option, lens 1 is having power 6D and aperture 1 centimeter. Lens 4 is having power 3D and aperture 1 centimeter. Both of them are having same aperture, so this is not a good choice. Let us go to option 2. So here also the aperture is of same magnitude for both objective and eyepiece, hence it is not a good choice. So I will consider the third option. Okay, so power 6D is there, power 3D is there. Lesser power means this is going to be the eyepiece. Greater power means this is going to be the this is going to be the eyepiece, because see, greater means eyepiece, smaller means objective, right? So objective. So magnification is there. Okay, what is the magnification here? 6 divided by 3. So it is going to be 2, and the choice of aperture is also good. So objective is having greater aperture 8 centimeter, and eyepiece is 1 centimeter in aperture. That's a good choice. But let us look at the option 4. So in option 4 we have a smaller power. Smaller power means this is going to be the objective, and greater power means this is going to be the eyepiece. So if you consider magnification in this case, it is going to be 10 divided by 3, which is 3.33. So it is greater than the previous case, and also we have objective aperture greater in magnitude compared to the eyepiece. So best choice is option 4. Next question, that is question number 54. The number of molecules in each cubic meter of a gas at 1 atmosphere and 300 Kelvin is. So this is normal pressure and temperature case. At NTP, we know that 1 mole of ideal gas occupy 22.4 liters of space. That is 22.4 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube of space. Now let us consider n mole of substance is going to occupy 1 meter cube of space. So we need to find what is the value of n. So cross multiply, you will be getting n equals to 1000. Why 1000 is coming means it is going to be 1 divided by 22.4 into 10 power minus 3. This 10 power minus 3 I had sent it to the numerators. So it becomes 10 power plus 3, that is 1000. So solving this, I had solved this in calculator. The answer what I am getting is 44.64 moles. So these many moles will be there in 1 meter cube of space at normal temperature and pressure. Now we know that in 1 mole 6.23 into 10 to the power 23 molecules will be present. So 1 mole contains 6.23 into 10 to the power 23 molecules, right? Therefore 44.64 moles will be containing how many molecules? It is going to be 44 into 44.64 sorry, into 6.23 into 10 to the power 23. Again I had calculated using the calculator. What answer I am getting is 277.9 into 10 to the power 23. So it is nearly what I can say 2.7 or 2.78 into 10 to the power 25. No option is matching this, but nearer option is option 1, which is 2.4 into 10 to the power 25. So that is the correct choice. Let us move on to question number 25. 3 blocks of masses M1, M2, M3 are connected by massless strings as shown in the figure on a frictionless table. They are pulled with force F. If M1 equals 5 kg, M2 equals 20 kg and M3 equals 25 kg, then the ratio of T1 and T2 is. Okay, so this is 25. They have marked the values of masses too. Okay, right. So how this is being pulled? You just check it. So it is pulled with some angle like 45 degree, right? Now the horizontal component of this will be equal to F. Okay, F cos 45. So I'll mark that as F dash. Okay, so F dash is the force with which the body is being pulled. Okay, they're asking the ratio of T1 to T2, right? I don't think we need to calculate F dash and all. So there will be a easier way, I think. Let me check it. Okay. So all these bodies will be moving with constant acceleration, same acceleration. If you consider individually and if you consider all these 3 objects as a whole, the acceleration will be same. Okay, so let me use this concept, right? So what is the acceleration of these 2 bodies put together? Okay, so that is going to be A. What is the formula for A? A is equal to the force acting on this body, which is T1, divided by total mass. Total mass is what? 25 kg. Yes, I got this way. This is simple. Right. Then I will consider only this body. So acceleration for this body, that is mass m1, is also same. So acceleration is given by, for this body of mass 5 kg, it is going to be T2 divided by its mass, that is 5. Okay, now I can compare these two, that is T1 by 25 is equal to T2 by 5. So now T1 by T2 will be equal to 25 by 5, or which is going to be 5:1. Hence option 3 is correct choice. In the given LCR circuit, the voltage measured by an AC voltmeter across C, R and L are 415 volt, 65 volt, 204 volt respectively. The current flowing through the circuit is. So here we need to find the current flowing through the circuit. No need to get the reactance values for capacitance and inductance. There is a easy way to solve this. What is it? So we know the current, we know the voltage across the resistor. That has been given as voltage across resistor, CRL. So this is the voltage across resistor, 65 volts. And we know its resistance. Therefore, current in the circuit can be calculated applying Ohm's law for this resistor, which is voltage across the resistor divided by resistance value. So the answer will be 0.65 ampere, which is given in option 4. Let us move on to question number 57. Choose the true statement out of the 4 given below. Static friction is less than sliding friction. Static friction is greater than sliding friction. So that is, kinetic friction is always less than static friction. So this is true, but here they have given opposite. 2. For constant velocity, applied force on the body should be equal to the force of friction during its motion. For constant velocity, applied force, yes. So there should not be any net force acting on the body for a constant velocity. That means the applied force should be cancelled out by the frictional force. Yes, the option 2 is correct statement. Let us take option 3 and option 4. Friction acts in the direction of applied force. So this is not true. This may be true sometimes. Okay, not all the time. But the common misconception what the students are having is friction is always opposite to the motion. Sometimes friction is along the direction of motion. We'll come to know this in the physics. Okay, sometimes it supports the motion, sometimes it opposes the motion. Okay, but here it is given like a friction acts in the direction of applied force. Okay, say for example, I will give you one example, one illustration in which frictional force will act along the direction of force. Okay, so here let us consider this is block A, this is block B. Now if I apply force in this direction, okay, so there will be a frictional force acting between A and B, which is also directed along the applied force, which is responsible for moving the block B in the same direction. Here the frictional force is supporting the motion. So but the option 3 is sometimes correct but sometimes wrong. It is not always true. That is why I have marked this as wrong. Option 4. Friction depends on the area of surfaces in contact. No, this is the property of frictional force what we have studied in the first PU syllabus. Okay, so only statement which is correct is statement 2. Hence that is the correct choice. Let's move on to question number 58. Here we have graph. Which of the following graphs represent E, kinetic energy of a photoelectron versus frequency of the incident radiation? So kinetic energy of the photoelectrons versus frequency. Till some frequency there won't be any photoelectric effect. That means there is no photoelectrons released. Hence they don't have kinetic energy. Okay, so till this point I don't have any photoelectrons and there won't be any kinetic energy associated with it. But once the frequency is crossed the threshold frequency, this kinetic energy Kmax is directly proportional to incident frequency of incident radiation, because we know that Einstein relation is given by h nu. This is energy of the photons incident, which is equal to work function, which is going to be constant, plus the Kmax. Here the symbol is given as E, okay, for Kmax. So symbol should not confuse you, okay. So what do we know is this frequency is directly proportional to E. So this is the graph we should look for, which is given in option 1. Let's move on to question number 59. A spherical ball contracts in volume by 0.0098% when it is subjected to a pressure of 100 atmosphere, then bulk modulus is. So bulk modulus of a material is defined as pressure divided by delta V by V, that is volumetric strain. So minus sign will be there, that we can just ignore. So here what is the pressure? 100 atmosphere. Atmosphere means in SI unit it is going to be 1.01 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal divided by volumetric strain. It is given as 0.0098 percentage, right? So what is that? It is going to be 98. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is going to be 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, so we'll be having 100 divided by 98 is almost 1 point something. So 1 point something into 1 point something, very small number. So it is approximately 1. Okay, into powers of 10 we should check it now. It is going to be 10 to the power 11. Okay, so 10 to the power 11. So it's given in atmosphere. Okay, so no need to change then. So I will consider only this. So 100 divided by 98 means it's 1 point something. Okay, 1.0 will be there, 1.0 something will be there, into 10 to the power 6. We need to look for this option. So we need to look for this option, which is clearly depicted in option 1. Hence option 1 is the correct choice. Okay, let's move on to the last question of this series. Hope you are enjoying. Let me give you the answer for last question. Right. A block of mass 4 kg slides on a horizontal frictionless table with a constant velocity 2 meter per second. It stops by compressing the spring. If the spring constant is K, spring constant K is 1600. Here small letter n is given. It should be capital N. Okay, so the unit of spring constant is Newton per meter. See, another mistake. It's full of mistake. I thought last question will be flawless. It is not. Newton per meter. Okay, so I think we can claim grace mark for this also, because they should check before they upload the compression of the spring is. Okay, so I will be solving this thinking that it is capital N. Okay, so here the conservation of law of energy should be applied. So when the maximum compression of the spring happens, at that time the block will be under rest. That means its complete kinetic energy will be given as potential energy of the spring. So what is the kinetic energy of the spring? Let us check it. Sorry, kinetic energy of the block half into mass. What is mass? 4 kg. So it is sliding with a constant velocity. What is the velocity? 2 meter per second. So squaring that, we will be getting 4. So this is the kinetic energy of the block, which must be equal to potential energy of the spring when the spring is compressed fully. So what is the expression for potential energy of the spring? Half kx squared. So half into k value is given as 1600, right? 1600 into x squared. Okay, so half and half get cancelled here. So what is x? X is equal to 16 divided by x squared. Sorry, x squared is equal to 16 divided by 1600. So we will be having 1 divided by 100. Okay, so squaring this we will be getting 1 divided by 10. So 1 divided by 10 meters it is. That means It is going to be 0.1 meter as given in option 1. Thanks for watching, dear students. So there are many questions for which we can claim grace marks here. I came to know that the last date is today itself, and before 4 p.m. we need to submit the objections if we have any. Please go through the videos and claim the grace marks, because there were so many examples in which we are going to get the grace marks. Okay, so thank you one and all. All the very best for your upcoming exams. Do well, make physics your favorite subject. Happy learning.